So how is research evolving to meet these challenges? These are 10 trends in digital analytics. To be honest with you, if you would let me, I would do 20 and be up here till next week. That would be really tiring for me and probably incredibly boring for you. These are the 10 things that I see in my work that are really rising to the surface. Just yesterday, I saw a blog post that outlined all of the available tools across audience segmentation, content analytics, social media listening, social media engagement. There were about 2,000 tools on the infographic. It's the most ridiculous environment ever. Everybody's trying to develop the next big tool to not only capture and analyze data. And it makes it incredibly hard for brands to then make the determination. A tool is only one part of the equation. There still needs to be a person, but a tool can help you cut off a lot of the time that it would take to do things through free tools. The other problem is there are so many different tools with so many different purposes, there is absolutely no cohesion. Now, it's starting to change as companies like Salesforce.com purchase Radian6, purchase Buddy Media. Radian6 is a listening tool, Buddy Media is an engagement tool. There is starting to be some cohesion across disciplines, but it's still very early days. So there isn't necessarily a concrete offering for brands to tap into. There's influence tools like Klout and Cred and Peer Index, and I'll talk about those in a little bit, that purport to measure influence but don't actually measure influence. There's a number of engagement software that will help you post content and understand what posts are performing the best. The reality is there's too many of those as well. Some are enterprise, some are small business, some are medium-sized business. I would challenge you, if you go out of here and Google social media listening tools or social media monitoring, you will be besieged by links, pages upon pages in Google, and you probably would have a hard time discerning which tool was better than the other. There's probably, so if we take a step back and talk just about listening for a second, or monitoring, whichever word you want to use, there are really two models developing. One is for program planning, so it's sort of more of the traditional benchmark research that communications pros are really familiar with. It's understanding who's driving conversation, what people are saying, and so on. And then there's more of the real-time listening for content purposes. And that is becoming sexy, as you've seen with Oreo and American Express during the Oscars, where they were listening for a specific event in the hopes of developing some content that matched how the community was going. Taking a step back, if we're going to do listening for program planning, the way I always think about this and the way I always approach any project is trying to answer the 5 W's. So we want to know who is driving conversation, where are those conversations taking place? So are they blogs, are they Twitter, are they forums? What are people saying? What are the key themes in conversation? Regardless of the channel, we want to know on blogs what are the key themes. We want to know on forums what are the key themes. For our key stakeholders, we want to know what themes are important to them. We want to know when people are talking. If your brand is highly seasonal and you only see conversation really taking place in a 3-month window, say during Christmas, we need to know that. We need to figure out how to then stoke conversation beyond that particular period. And then the elusive why. I will tell you, doing this a little while now, that answering why strictly through social data is a little challenging. In fact, almost impossible. It's difficult to discern intent just by reading a person's tweet. Sometimes they give it away, oftentimes they don't. This is where traditional research still plays an important element. A great friend of mine, and I hope you will tweet at him, he's at Webby2001, always says that social data allows us to ask better questions. And that why is exactly why. There is no way we can truly answer consumer intent or patient intent if we're looking at healthcare examples strictly by looking at conversation data. So instead of me just blathering on about high-level trends without any sort of real-life example, I thought I'd give you a couple from a recently completed conversation blueprint that we did for a client, just to give you some sense for what kinds of things are we tracking. So we're looking at, share of voice. That is the amount of conversation that's happening about a competitor versus our brand or a set of competitors. We're looking at the conversation breakdown for each of the competitors. We're looking at sentiment. So we work with a lot of consumer brands. Sentiment is a very important thing, and we'll literally hand code mentions for them. We also look at a broader breakdown by media type for individual brands. We look at the kinds of posts that are happening. So is it an experience? Is it a broad opinion? Is it a customer service issue? Are they talking about the product? Do they hate our CEO? Do they hate our CFO? Whatever it is, we're going to identify what those key themes are. As Bill mentioned, I used to work at Element Digital, and David Armano is a friend of mine, so give him full credit for this image. Real-time marketing is becoming incredibly sexy. I'm on Ustream, so I won't say it's hogwash. Oh wait, I did say it's hogwash. Basically, what we're doing is trying to develop content to meet the community's needs. I don't think we need to develop a new term for it. But you saw, if you were paying attention or watching the Oscars and then watching the tweet stream, you saw a number of photos or videos or infographics created by brands in an attempt to reach the community on an issue they care about. They were literally following the